Were you at Sugarloaf Hill?
No, it was right next to us.
I see.
Sugarloaf was to the left of us. That if that I can't think of it, but that little stream that we crossed, it's almost to go behind the defenses of Sugarloaf because they were all in hills.
I see.
And it wasn't Sugarloaf wasn't that big of it's a very,
Little hill.
a little hill.
Yeah.
It was hell though. It was hell. It was hell. So, and then, and of course that, to me, just recently, when we were going there, and I forgot his name again, this was this football player from UCLA that got killed there, or that got wounded there at that Sugarloaf or in that area. And I remember before I went, he was a high school player in Los Angeles, so, and he recently passed away. And but I remember the reason I remember that because that evening it was the Graves registration came in to pick up the bodies that had been picked up. And they were, it was evening and it was raining and they were picking them up, and Sugarloaf had been a tremendous loss. I don't know, 3 or 4 times it just kept killed someone. And what made it so terrible is that it rained. And we never leave a wounded behind, never, or our dead. We go out there and bring them back. And in those days, some of them had to stay out there in the rain, couldn't get, and they would just.
Did you go into Naha at all?
Yes, on the outskirts. I went to the outskirts of Naha. It was completely demolished except for one big building, which I later found out it was either a school building or something. It was maybe 2 or 3 stories at the most. And that was the only big structure that was left. The rest of it, there was here and there, but it was demolished. We bombarded and shelled it. It's something that is indelible in my mind, and yet I tried to forget a lot of that.
Sure.
I had a godfather, a godmother here that had a son in the Army, and this is a story that I tell, and when I came back, the family knows it. He came looking for me during the campaign. One of the breaks, he came over, and my mother had talked to my godmother and told her, no, I know that they're both in Okinawa, but I haven't heard from them. And so somehow or the other, she got word to him, or a letter, I guess, and he came looking for me. And the Army and the Marines don't, especially in that part of they didn't get along. I don't know. I wasn't so much, because I have Army people in my family. So, but this doggy, that's what they called him, this doggy comes up to me, and he's hasn't shaved, and he's a big guy. He was my brother's age. And when we grow up, in our culture, where we grew up, we have a lot of respect for our elders. We don't talk back to our brothers, you know. Boom, hey, hey, keep your place. So this guy was like a brother to me, and he came, and he had a red beard and big husky guy. And he comes and he chewed me out, and all my friends, who's that doggy? Who was that doggy yelling at you? I said, never mind. Because he came on, he says, you haven't written home. I says, yeah, no, I haven't written. He says, well, you're going to write. I says, okay, tonight I'll manage to get a letter off. He said, no, you're going to do it right now. He took we had what they called I don't know, some kind of V-mail or something like that.
V-mail, yeah.
It was a piece of paper folded in 3 places that you would write and fold it over and glue it and mail it. And he had one in his pack. He gave us, he says, okay, right, I'll take it.
Good for him.
But you hear that. This is a story the Marines and the Army always have, especially there in Okinawa. I have felt so bad when we replaced the Army troops in the South. I didn't know it, but then later on I had reason to feel bad for them because they just took a wow, and they didn't realize what they were going into a meat grinder, and they lost tremendous losses, tremendous. When we went in, we already anticipated running into a, but that's war.
Was there anything else you wanted to tell us about on Okinawa?
Well, I don't know. You know, I've heard it described, the horrors of war that happened there, and yet the northern part of the island is a beautiful. It reminded me of those little farms in Monterey Park. Now, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and the people, they were so nice. Little, and they're Japanese by stature are short, but they seem to be even shorter, the Okinawans. Very nice. I have with the bad of the war, there's some good things that I remember, but I swore I'll never, when I get home, I'm never going to leave home again. And I didn't. I came home and it took me a couple of years to settle down and assimilate.